Hey guys, welcome back to NFL Trading Room. My name is Ben, and today we've got a very fun episode for you. We're going to be talking about my top 5 wide receivers in the 2026 NFL Draft. This is a super deep class. This is a really talented group. There are 5 to 6 guys that I would strongly consider taking in the first round, and some other receivers may even slip into that conversation as the process continues to go. But again, this is a really fun group. And first, we're going to get hit on some honorable mentions, and then we'll get into my top 5. Let's go ahead and get started. Quick disclaimer, the Big Ten is still blocking all 22 film on YouTube. So just keep that in mind as this list goes along. We won't be able to show all 22 clips for any Big Ten receivers. And there are a lot of talented Big Ten receivers in this class, so just keep that in mind as we move forward. Let's get into the list. Starting with our honorable mentions, I'm going to start with Ted Hurst, the receiver out of Georgia State. He's been a favorite of mine since the summer. Probably my favorite G5 prospect. Maybe not the highest ranked, but probably my favorite. And then you've got Skylar Bell over at UConn, another G5 prospect, really talented receiver. You've got Antonio Williams, the receiver out of Clemson. And then you've got the Indiana duo, Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper Jr., really talented duo. And then a couple of the other honorable mentions, you've got Jeremy Bernard, the receiver out of Alabama. You've got Chris Bell, the receiver out of Louisville. Really unfortunate situation there. He's a guy that I've mocked in the first round a couple times in the later half of some of my first round mocks. He tore his ACL against SMU. And for a guy I don't think he's as reliant on his explosiveness as some think, but I also don't think he's necessarily as refined a route runner as some think. So I'm kind of in the middle on Chris Bell. So really unfortunate with that injury. Hopefully he can get back up to speed and regain his athleticism after this injury. He's just insanely explosive, really fun player to watch. And then the last honorable mention is going to be Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee. Really talented receiver, 6'5", 200 pounds, can really run, has some savvy to him that you don't see out of a lot of receivers his size, and just makes some crazy catches. But let's go ahead and get into the top 5. Coming in at number 5, we've got Casey Concepcion, the receiver out of Texas A&M. Casey Concepcion comes in at 5'11", 190 pounds. He is a true junior, so hasn't declared just yet with Texas A&M still in the playoff, but I do expect him to declare at some point. I've got a late first, early second round grade on him, so I would be comfortable taking him in the first round range. He's got an elite release package. He is an absolutely electric athlete. Some of the quickest feet in this class. He may have the quickest feet in this class, probably of the receivers, but maybe of any player in this class. He's got great contested catch numbers for his size, again at 5'11", 190. He is a contested ball winner, and he showed that even at NC State last year. And like I said, with his electric athleticism, he is insanely shifty. I think maybe the best route he runs are comebacks and curls, really able to decelerate into his breaks and explode out of his breaks on those routes. But he is a really good deep threat too. He's not a gadget guy like NC State tried to use him last year. He's able to run the full route tree, and Texas A&M allows him to do so. And he's just a monster after the catch. You can get it to him in the screen game. You can get it to him over the middle. He can even finish deep down the field after the catch and separate away from second-level defenders. So really fun receiver prospect. A couple of the weaknesses that I do have for him, the drop rate does need to improve. That was something that I criticized coming into the year for him. It has improved a little bit, but it still needs to take a lot of steps. It's a near 10% drop rate, so got to improve that. I think part of that, he lets the ball get into his chest too often. He's become much more of a hands catcher since he's got to Texas A&M, but I think that habit of body catching, letting the ball get into his chest, does show its head from time to time. There are times when he's trying to stack on the outside where he does get rerouted by corners, and typically that is lengthier corners. I do think he can still survive on the outside because he is a strong, compact player that has the juice to separate on the outside, but just need to be wary of that. And like I mentioned, he needs to be more of a hands catcher, but really fun receiver prospect. Excited to see where he goes and how he performs in the college football playoff. Next up at number 4, it is going to be Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. Boston comes in with a first round grade for me. He is 6'4", 209 pounds. And he's a guy that I liked in summer, but man, I really, really like him now even more than I did in the summer. He's got, like I mentioned, great size, just 2 drops this entire season, so it's a below 3% drop rate. He is very efficient in contested situations, 9 of 12 on the season. And I think for a guy coming into the season that his athleticism was criticized and it still continues to be criticized, he's got some wiggle to him, especially after the catch. He's got some slippery hips and able to put some moves on defenders and able to get additional yards after the catch. He's a really efficient route runner. Not the most explosive player, but he's efficient in every route that he runs. And like I mentioned with the wiggle, he's got some light feet at his size. He's not some big lumbering receiver that just kind of marches his way down the field. He's got really gliding, smooth feet that move pretty quickly. He doesn't, have this insane productive profile after the catch, but he is tough after the catch. He's a guy that can juke you out. He's a guy that's not afraid to run you over. He brings a lot to the table in that aspect of the game. Even though his top end speed isn't something I would call a strength, he is a really quick accelerator. He gets to that top speed rather quickly. He is a hands catcher personified. Every single play you see from him, the hands are extended. He's attacking the football in the air. He's got incredible body control, especially on the sideline. The awareness to keep his feet in bounds, and a lot of times it's 2 feet in bounds, which you want to see because that's what's going to be required at the NFL level. And there are moments where, as I got deeper into the tape, started to see more of his ability as a deep threat. That wasn't something I saw early on in his tape, but it continued to pop up later in his tape, and that was something I definitely marked down. And I think one of the more effective and underrated routes that he runs, he's a really good double move route runner, whether that's a go and stop or whether that's a curl and go, whatever it may be. He creates a lot of separation on those types of routes. Some of the weaknesses, I do question the long speed. He can stretch the field vertically, but a lot of times it is against safeties and zone coverage. There are times where he's not able to stretch the field vertically against man coverage. But a lot of the separation concerns I had were on longer routes going horizontally across the field. He does create a lot of initial separation, but if it's a longer developing concept, he does struggle to sustain that separation at times. And he just may not be a consistent deep threat at the next level because they're going to be bigger, faster, stronger players at that level. He may just not be able to create the same amount of separation, but he's able to win in the Big Ten down the field. So he's certainly going to have moments like that at the NFL level. I just don't know that it's going to be super consistent. But I love Denzel Boston. Pretty easy first-round grade for me, and just a really, really fun player to watch. Quick break in the list. If you guys wouldn't mind to go down below, drop a like, drop a comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That will let us know that you're enjoying the content, and we'll continue to bring content like this to you throughout the draft season. Let's get back into the list. Next up, we're getting into kind of that top tier. This is pretty much the consensus 3 receivers that are at the top of the board for pretty much everyone. But at number 3, it is going to be USC's wide receiver, Makai Lemon. Lemon comes in at 5'11", 195 pounds. He's a true junior. And he did recently declare, so he is in this draft class, and he does have a first-round grade for me. He is an exceptional route runner. I think he's the best route runner in this class. He's got really, really strong hands at the catch point. I don't know that I've ever seen a receiver this size be that strong at the catch point. He is a contested ball winner. He is 10 for 15 in contested situations, which for that size is absurd efficiency. After the catch, he is really tough. He's not afraid to mix it up and run you over, but he'll also juke you out. The speed isn't necessarily a concern. He's not an absolute burner, but he's got the requisite speed to be able to separate. He is as competitive as they come as a run blocker. He mixes it up. He'll catch a safety taking a play off or a nickel corner taking a play off, and he'll blow them up. He is a very elusive player after the catch, like I mentioned, and he's got super quick feet. I mentioned it with KC Concepcion, but Makai Lemon kind of has that same trait where his feet just keep firing really quickly. The part of his contested catch ability, he plays really well through traffic. This is at the catch point. This is, against press coverage. I think against Notre Dame, he did struggle against press coverage, but I thought some other games he handled it pretty well. He's got great body control, balance, and awareness of the sideline. We mentioned it with Denzel Boston. Makai Lemon kind of does the same thing. Able to kind of go limp in the lower half and keep his feet in bounds, even though his upper body and momentum may be taking him out of bounds. And overall, he just makes some of the most insane catches I've seen from a receiver with this size profile, and just a guy that I think is a top 10 player in this draft class. I don't know if he'll finish like that once I get everyone's grade finished, but he just seems like a top 10 football player in this draft class to me. Some of the weaknesses, he's not an absolute burner. We mentioned it with the speed. He is undersized, and I do think he lacks arm length, but I think he makes up for it with his hand size. We don't have an official measurement on his hand size just yet, but if you watch on tape, he does seem to have larger hands than what you would expect for this height and weight of a receiver. So I think that helps him in the hands department, being able to catch the football effectively. And I don't think he may have one drop this year. That may be it for him on the season, but just an exceptional football player. He's a guy that's going to dominate in the slot, and this was a bona fide first round pick for me. Now getting into the top two, this is pretty much everyone's top two, although my order has changed since the beginning of the season. I'm going to have Jordan Tyson, the receiver out of Arizona State, here at wide receiver 2. He comes in at 6'2", 200 pounds, redshirt junior. I don't know if he's officially declared yet, but he will declare. He is one of the best players in this draft class. He will declare. He's got really quick feet, which at that size is always a plus. A hands catcher, always attacks the football in the air. Has improved the drop rate considerably. It was around 8.5% in 2024, and it's below 2% this year. He's a really shifty player. He high points the football. He's got precise breaks as a route runner. He's one of the better route runners in this class. He is a contested catch winner. You haven't seen that a lot of the times this year. I think that's largely due to his injuries, which we'll get into. But you go back to 2024, and he was a monster at the catch point. He has the requisite speed to threaten the defense vertically. He's a really quick accelerator. I think something underrated about his game is he consistently beats inside leverage on in-breaking routes. There are many times where a nickel corner or safety is manned up on him, and they have inside leverage, and Jordan Tyson still beats them to the middle of the field. He's got a really slippery release package, uses that to get off press coverage. He creates a lot of separation laterally, which is really impressive, and he's just so elusive. Arizona State gets him the ball in a variety of ways. This is whether it's screens, whether it's in the intermediate portion of the game, whether it's quick throws on RPOs, or whether it's threatening the defense vertically. He gets the ball in a variety of scenarios. He runs his routes with really nice tempo. I like the timing at which he runs his routes, has a nice understanding of zone coverages, where to set up, and really just understands where to flow with his quarterback, especially in scramble drill, which is nice. And something that I thought was majorly impressive on his tape was I thought he ran the best collection of out-breaking routes in this class. Just such precise foot placement on those at the top of the route stem, and gets a lot of separation going towards the sideline on those types of routes. Let's get into the weaknesses. I did mention it, the injury concerns. There are pretty much a CVS list length of injury concerns with him. And most recently, I believe it is the hamstring injury. And I think that's been a factor as to why, like I mentioned, he hasn't been as dominant of a contested catch winner this year. And I think you've seen that within games, especially the Texas Tech game. There were times where he makes a play and he gets up hobbling, holding that hamstring, and then comes in later, makes a play, and the same thing happens. So this is, and the guy I have ranked as wide receiver 1 absolutely deserves that title. But if Jordan Tyson was fully healthy, I don't know that the guy I have at wide receiver 1 would be over Jordan Tyson. They are neck and neck. But because of the injury concerns, I just felt like I had to move Jordan Tyson down to number 2. There's just a lot of unknown there. A couple of the other concerns that I have, there were a couple, this is more of a nitpick than anything, but there were a couple in-breaking routes that were a little bit rounded. You want to see those a little bit sharper. The release off the line could be just a little bit quicker. There are some false steps in there. And we mentioned it with the contested catch situations, not ideal this year, but I think that's largely due to the injuries. But when he's healthy, Jordan Tyson is fantastic. He is so much fun to watch. He's a really clean receiver prospect, and a guy that, if he stays healthy, I think he's a future All-Pro. And rounding out this list with wide receiver 1, it is going to be Ohio State wide receiver Carnell Tate. Tate comes in at 6'3", 195 pounds. He's a true junior. Hasn't declared yet because Ohio State's still in the playoff, but he will declare. Just an exceptional football player. He covers ground really quickly. He eats up a lot of turf in his routes really quickly, has long strides. He creates a lot of separation both vertically and horizontally, which you love to see. I think he's become a much smoother athlete than he was last year. He just looks more fluid. He looks more effortless when he's running at full speed. He's not afraid to block, whether that's lined up in the slot or lined up outside. He's got a good blend of release packages that help him get off press coverage. He's a really quick accelerator. He is a lethal deep threat. That's something that we've seen even recently against Michigan in the snow that was coming down. He's able to run a post and gets behind the safety relatively easily for a long touchdown there. He is relatively electric as a route runner. I've really enjoyed his development in that aspect of things. I thought he was a pretty raw route runner coming into the year. There were obviously flashes on 2024's tape of him running some nice routes, but I thought that was an area of concern coming into the year, and he has completely blown my expectations out of the water as far as his ability as a route runner in 2025. He is a monster in contested catch situations. I believe he's 10 for 12 in contested situations, which is just absurd efficiency. 0 drops in 2025. That is a big concern that I had for him coming into the season. Had a lot of the percentage may not have been high, but a lot of the drops he had, he was wide open and just seemed like concentration drops. But he has 0 in 2025, which is fantastic. I think part of his ability as a deep threat comes from his ability to stack corners on the outside. He does a fantastic job at that, getting vertical, stacking the corner, and then continuing to create separation after the stack. And he attacks the football well. Even on curls and comebacks, you see him attacking the football back to the quarterback, creates that extra barrier between the ball and the defender, and secures the catch well. Some of the weaknesses that I have, there are not much. It's another nitpick, like I mentioned with Jordan Tyson, but there are a couple in-breaking routes that are just a little bit rounded. Could clean that up. And then he's not the most creative after the catch, but he does a lot of his work before the catch anyway and gets down the field. So Carnell Tate he's just an exceptional receiver prospect. Really, really enjoy his tape. Excited to see what he does in the playoff, and just really excited to see what he does at the next level. All right, guys, that does it for my top 5 wide receivers in the 2026 NFL Draft. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure you go down below, drop a like, drop a comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, that would just let us know that you're enjoying the content, and we'll continue to bring more content like this to you throughout the draft season. This has been NFL Trading Room. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great day.